Paul,
Yeah.
help us from a data sciencey perspective. Let's get a little more sciencey than we've than we've gotten so far. But help us understand, a little bit more detailed. What this is, what exactly it does, and what impact it has on measure level cut points.
Yeah. So, I think one of the things when we think about Tukey, first off, if we step back, is just what is it doing overall for CMS and for the plans, right? And one of the top considerations when you're trying to manage plans to a metric is removing volatility and all these outside impacts. And so Tukey is an outlier detection methodology which strips off these odd outliers that have undue influence on the overall cut point year over year. And if you think about it, and you see this in your everyday life, common events that are well within the norm kind of operate in a reasonable band. But then the outliers are what are really surprising, and they can change the overall landscape. And so Tukey as a methodology is answering the question, how do we detect what are those outliers, and then how do we get rid of them? And so what the algorithm tries to do intuitively is figure out what is sort of common in the middle, and then what is a good rule that sets up what they call the fences, the Tukey fences on either side, and then data points that fall below those fences on the low end or above those fences on the high end can be considered outliers and deleted. And then the real art is determining what's that sensitivity. How many outliers do we want to get rid of, and how many do we want to keep? And I think one thing I was going to mention earlier, as Mick was talking about Tukey's and its relative importance and the impact it's supposed to have on plans, is that in the coming STARS 2024, when they start applying this, it's one of the major outside factors that plans have no control over, because you can adjust your star rating within certain parameters, but ultimately what the plans don't control is the impact of math on top of that clustering algorithm that determines the cut points. That's sort of this outside area where they have to look at it and determine how much investment do they need to make to cushion themselves against the shock that applying these outlier cut points are going to have, or removing the outliers will have on top of the cut points.